In a world where art often whispers, one painting roars. A canvas that has weathered the storm of centuries, only to find itself at the epicenter of modern fury. Meet the Rokeby Venus. It lies in relaxation, her back turned to us, the soft curves of her body rendered in strokes of hushed tones and subtle light. It's a masterwork of Diego Velazquez, where the divine and the earthly entangle in a silent dialogue of beauty. But it's not just her elusive beauty that has sparked a firestorm of controversy. Oh no, it's what she represents. An uncontrolled sensuality that's been turning heads and raising eyebrows for over 4 centuries. Imagine a painting so bold, so ahead of its time, that it becomes a battleground for ideologies, a canvas where clashes of culture, art, and politics intertwine. The Rokeby Venus is just that painting. Once a hidden gem whispered about in hushed tones, she's now a magnet for outrage. Attacked not once, but twice. She's gone from secret treasure to a symbol of rage in the art world. Her story is truly remarkable. But let's first start with the man behind the painting. Born in Seville in 1599, this chap was no stranger to the finer arts, having bound under the Mannerist painter Francisco Pacheco. But let's be honest, Velazquez didn't just learn to paint by numbers, he soaked up the Flemish and Italian practically like a sponge, which would later become the bread and butter of his own style. Now, Velazquez wasn't one to sit quietly in the corner of some dusty studio. Oh no, he had his sights set higher, much higher. By the time he was slinging his easel in Madrid, he caught the eye of King Philip IV. And, just like that, our man Diego was in like Flynn, becoming the official portraitist to the Spanish crown. But Velazquez didn't just paint your run-of-the-mill, stiff-as-a-board portraits. He had a certain je ne sais quoi, capturing his subjects' light, shadows, and very souls. His paintings were so lifelike. He's the guy the other painters tip their berets to. His influence stretches far and wide, leaving a mark on Western painting that's as indelible as the mustache on the Mona Lisa, figuratively speaking, of course. His knack for realism and his flair for drama just didn't set the bar, they threw the bar out and started a new one. So when we talk about the Rokeby Venus, we're not just talking about a pretty face on a canvas. We're talking about a slice of genius from a guy who could paint, dance, and sing. This painting that he made was truly on another level. It's as enigmatic as it is easy on the eyes. It isn't just any old picture of the Roman goddess of love. It's a masterclass in subtlety and suggestion, a piece that's been causing viewers to lean in closer for a better look since the 17th century. At first glance, you might just see Venus lounging about as she does, with her back to us. She is stretched out with a kind of grace that would make even the most seasoned yoga instructor nod in respect. But, oh, there's more to it. Velazquez has her cast a sidelong glance in a mirror held by Cupid. Her son? It's a scene that's as intimate as it is distant. And yet, despite her apparent availability, she's as distant as a teenager's attention during a lecture on tax policy. She's a universe away, caught in a moment of reflection that's less about checking for spinach in her teeth and more about the eternal mysteries of love. Now let's talk about Velazquez's technique, which is less about showing off and more about showing subtlety who's boss. He's not just slapping paint on canvas, he's whispering secrets to it. The colors are a masterful display of less is more, with shades that don't scream for attention, but somehow still manage to get all of it. It's like he's the quiet kid in class who drops the mic every time when he finally speaks up. Venus's figure is a meandering river of curves, leading the eye on a merry chase to that mirror where we glimpse her face. It's a face that's seen things, knows things, and isn't about to spill the beans just because we're all staring. This is sensuality with a capital S, painted with more lifelike realism than a reality TV show, and infinitely more tasteful. She's got depth, she's got curves, and she's not afraid to use them. This is a Venus who enjoys a good feast, who isn't about to say no to a second helping of paella. It's this earthy, unapologetic sensuality that sets her apart. She's not just a painting. She's the friend who tells you like it is, without a filter and with all the love. And now comes the interesting part. Back in the day when roughs were all the rage and modesty was more than just a suggestion, the Rokeby Venus decided to play a little game of hide and seek. Now you might think it was just being coy, but there's more to the story of concealment than meets the eye. You see, Velazquez's Venus wasn't just lounging around for her health. She was a bold statement at a time when showing a bit of ankle was considered risque. This painting of the goddess of love was all about love, and let's just say the powers that be weren't ready to swipe right. For over 150 years, the Rokeby Venus kept a low profile, not because she was shy, but because the world wasn't quite ready for her close-up. The cultural and societal norms of her time were a tad on the conservative side, and Venus was anything but conservative. She was sensual, unapologetic, and, quite frankly, a bit too much for the 17th century crowd to handle. So she waited, biding her time until the world could appreciate her for who she was, a masterpiece of not just art, but of boldness. Let's just say she was hidden because she was ahead of her time. And as we all know, timing is everything, especially when you're a work of art that's about to turn the art world on its head. And quite literally, she surely turned the world as the controversies came in. She didn't have an easy life when she was in public. It has been through more drama than a soap opera star. Over a century ago, this painting was the victim of an attack that would make any art conservator's heart skip a beat. A suffragette, in a bid to make a statement about women's rights, took a knife to it. Yes, a knife. It seems Venus's allure was so powerful, it stirred admiration and a fierce desire for political statement-making. Fast forward to November 7th, 2023, and history, in its cyclical fashion, decided to repeat itself. This time, climate activists took a stand, or rather, a swing at the painting. Their message was clear. Art can't survive on a dead planet, but instead of a blade, they brought a hammer? Because if you're going to make a point, why not do it with a bang, right? These attacks were not just about the physical canvas and the oils that dance across its surface. They're about what the Rokeby Venus has come to represent in the context of its history. Whether it's women's suffrage or climate change, the Rokeby Venus has become a symbol of protest, a rallying cry for those looking to leave their mark on the world, literally and figuratively. And the situation goes deep. What is it about this particular portrayal of Venus that gets under people's skin? For starters, Velazquez's Venus is not your average celestial, holier-than-thou goddess. She's earthy, real, and has a backside that's been causing people to clutch their pearls for over 400 years. Velazquez went rogue, painting a goddess who wouldn't look out of place sipping a latte in a 21st century coffee shop. But it's not just her relatability that caused turmoil. It's the fact that she's unabashedly sensual, a trait that's had the moral compasses of certain eras spinning like tops. Venus's sensuality is not the coy, suggestive kind. It's front and center, unapologetic and in your face, or rather, in your mirror, since that's where she's gazing. And then there's the symbolism. Venus, the goddess of love, is not just a figure of romance and beauty. She's also a symbol of fertility, desire, and all those other juicy aspects of human nature that can make the more conservative among us squirm. Velazquez's painting captures all of this with a subtlety that's as cunning as it is beautiful. And well, you can attest, it's a phenomenal art. So anyway, in the face of change, challenge, and the occasional hammer swing, what is the true role of art in society? Is it a silent sentinel of history or a loudspeaker for the present? What do you think? Comment down below and see you in the next video.